Had no dignity. That's what I was missing. There was no dignity. It just looked like a man desperate for attention. And whenever DeSantis was scoring points on him.
Tell me I'm wrong. What you watched wasn't a debate, it was a dignity leak. The kind of televised moment where a politician leans on charm, cliches, and a laminated smile, and then runs headfirst into someone who came armed with facts, follow-ups, and the patience of a surgeon removing spin with tweezers. Yes, we all saw it. Megyn Kelly didn't.
Yes, to be honest with you, I mean, it's very strange because when you listen to him, you would think like he's a moderate, but he's not. On the trans stuff and virtually every other subject, he is as radical as they come. He is
just challenged Gavin Newsom. She disassembled the persona, the polish, the trust me, California is fine infomercial, piece by curated piece. That's the clip in your feed. That's the pulse in your group chat. And that's why you're here right now. Here's why it matters and why it matters now. California is supposed to be the showroom floor of American progress. Gleaming promise.
He would interrupt over and over to try to talk over the points as just that's like a middle school debate tactic, which is
limitless budget, the tech capital that claims it can code its way out of gravity. But under Newsom's watch, the showroom looks like a staged apartment with a leaking ceiling and a broken lock. If the model state is fraying at the edges while its spokesman keeps selling you perfection, that's not just a California story. That's a national audition reel. And tonight—
That's so fun. Gavin, a simple Google search about yourself will serve you well before you make these sweeping claims. But on the same dishonest, disingenuous front, he tried to act like he's the reasonable one on the trans and the children issue, Eliana, which is a lie.
We're going to press pause, zoom in, and see what's actually on that tape. Before we start, let me confirm what you came for. Yes, this is the takedown you heard about. Yes, Megyn laid out receipts instead of reactions. And yes, the moment he tried to bulldoze the conversation with volume, interruptions, and that, trust me, I've got this grin, the room turned cold. Now, let me tease what's ahead so you stick with me. First, we'll go inside the California contradiction, the sunny headline versus the storm in the footnotes, and show you why public safety and affordability feel like a choose-your-own disaster. Then
is the great white hope of the Democratic Party. I really don't. I don't see it happening. Am I wrong? I realize he's got the widow's peak. That's in his favor. He's got the gravelly voice. I don't think I thought Bashir could do it because he's a blue governor in a red state, Kentucky. But the more I listen to him, the more I'm like, he can't.
And we'll relive the on-air demolition, where the charm offensive met an offense built on evidence, and slow play the exact pivots that fell apart under pressure. And finally, we'll open the ambition file, the French Laundry hypocrisy that won't die, the lockdown doublespeak, the traveling speeches that sound like victory laps over burning ground, and the 2028 mirror pep talk he can't stop giving himself. Quick proof you're in good hands. I watched the exchanges, cross-checked the claims, and mapped the pattern, promise, posture, pivot, deflect. If you've ever wondered why so many Californians feel gaslit by a press conference, you're about to see it in high definition. Stay with me. The payoff is coming. Let's start with the second strongest point because it's the one he wants you to ignore. California's expectations versus California's reality. Picture the drone shot he loves. Golden Hills, Cobalt Ocean, turbines turning like progress made physical. Now tilt the camera down to the street. Storefronts with toothpaste under lock and key like it's contraband. A shoplifter calculation that lives in the culture now. Under a threshold, over a threshold, it doesn't matter. The point is the incentives are upside down, and everyone knows it. You don't need a white paper to feel unsafe walking to your car after dark. Public safety has been recast as a vibe. If you feel it, great. If you don't, you must be ingesting the wrong narrative. And when local leaders complain, the governor's podium leans forward and tells them to check their tone while the state sends another press release about reimagining accountability. That gap between talking points and Tuesday afternoon in San Francisco creates a special kind of exhaustion. It's not outrage anymore. It's shrug fatigue. The promise was a bold, humane system that balances fairness with order. The reality looks like a clearance sale on consequences. More on that number, $9.49 later. Pin it. Now the strongest point, the one that turned the internet into a chorus of play it again, the on-air humbling. He arrived with the aura he's perfected, serene, softly scolding, the nation's head prefect. Interrupt early, interrupt often, not to clarify, but to out-tempo the criticism. Except there's a counter for that, and Megyn played it. She brought the paper trail. She didn't need to be loud. She only needed to be literal. You said X. The result is Y. Explain the distance. That's the move. Watch how quickly the smile strains when receipts enter the chat. He tries the classic pivot. That's a local issue. The context is broader. We're making progress you can't see yet, and then runs into the wall of specifics. It wasn't a scream. It was a slow uncoupling of myth from metrics. The public felt it. Even people who don't like Megyn felt it.
Why?
Because interruption without answer is just noise, and the audience has learned to hear the difference. Mini cliffhanger. We'll circle back to the French Laundry moment in a second because it's the skeleton key that opens all the other doors. Context first. California's brand is the most valuable political property in America. When it works, every progressive dollar in the country gets a confidence boost. When it doesn't, every critic gets a megaphone. That's why he travels. That's why he debates governors in states he doesn't run. He wants the national stage, the split screen with Red America, the promise of, look at what we've done. Imagine what I could do with the Oval. And if you only read the press handouts, you might believe it. Historic this, transformational that. But application matters. If everyday people can't afford to live where they work, if teachers are exhausted in crumbling classrooms while central offices add new vice superintendents of buzzword compliance, if parents watch their kids' schools stay shut while the governor's kids found a way back sooner, the word, transformational, starts to sound like an insult. Framing it honestly, the expectation was a model state. The reality is a cautionary tale with great lighting. Back to the French Laundry. This is the story that refuses to fade, and for good reason. It's not about a single dinner. It's about the mask slipping literally and figuratively. Public rules for thee, private reservations for me. At the precise moment when small restaurants were gasping for air, when families were canceling holidays and grandparents were waving through windows, the governor decided the rules were flexible for people like him. That's not a scandal. That's a worldview. And you can feel the audience bristle when he scolds again later about doing the right thing. You can't PSA your way out of that image. The soft lighting, the easy laughter, the knowledge that if you ran that dinner in your own zip code, your business would have been fined into a coma. Note the pattern. Declaration, restriction, exception. Then the press conference cadence, somber, soothing, rehearsed about togetherness. It lands like a lullaby over a fire alarm. Let's open a loop on schools, because this one is personal for a lot of families. Parents begged to reopen. Zoom fatigue turned into learning loss, turned into kids who forgot how to be with other kids. The governor's language was careful, calibrated, endlessly consultative. The lived experience was chaotic. When teachers' unions called the plays, classrooms stayed dark. If your kid was lucky enough to be in a district with resources, or in a private option, the lights flicked on months earlier. Expectation. We're all in this together. Reality. We're in this in tears. Hold that. We'll tie it to the ambition question at the end. Now homelessness. The press release vocabulary is flawless. Comprehensive strategies, wraparound services, record investments. The street-level view is a tent city that grows faster than any line item. Billions in, incremental improvements on paper, and a sense that the state is building out a bureaucracy that manages decline instead of reversing it. People don't hate compassion. They hate the performance of compassion that yields more misery. Walk 3 blocks in downtown LA and tell me the plan is working on the timeline they insist it is. You trip, you adjust, you fund again, and the best the public gets is a promise that the next tranche will definitely move the needle. Meanwhile, small business owners mop their own thresholds every morning and wonder if anyone in Sacramento has touched a hose. Crime next. There's a reason that $949 number became folklore. The policy complexity is real, but perception eats nuance for breakfast. If you live where the line between petty and felony feels like a coupon code, the message is simple. It's open season on your inventory. You can't lecture people out of their own eyes. That's why drugstores look like vaults. why staff are trained to stand down, and why residents joke, not because it's funny, but because it's easier than rage, that car windows are now a subscription service. Expectation. Enlightened reform. Reality. A demoralized police force, a demoralized retail sector, and a black market economy with better hours than City Hall. Let's talk debate style, because it's a tell. Newsom's strategy works on friendlier stages.